Happy Tuesday morning, artists. This is Beth Cooper. We're continuing on with our series of hiking in the desert. We're going to draw a bunch of different items that we can find in the desert, which you wouldn't think would be very much, but when you really start thinking about it and doing some research, you find that the desert is alive with plants and animals. So once we fill out this page with elements that we're going to use in the final drawing, then we'll move over to the other page that's facing it, and we'll draw a full scene that has all of these items included in it. So yesterday we did items that we would find in the background, and today we're going to do the cactus. Different varieties of cactus in the desert, more than we would probably be able to use in a drawing. So I want to just start with the most obvious one, and the one that I love, that I just really fell in love with when we were in Arizona, is the Saguaro cactus. And that one really is a spike in the middle, and then it has arms that grow out from the side like this, and it can have many arms growing out from the side, but we're just going to put two for now, so it kind of looks like a person with his hands up. And then they have spines that go down like this, and spines that go down like this. And along the spines is where you will find their thorns, the prickliness. So if you just put little X's along those spines, that will represent our thorns. And you can actually do them on the side of the cactus too if you want to, like that, all over. And actually, I'm going to leave the rest of those until we put our inking in. Now, when the cactus is in bloom, the blooms happen around the tops of each one of these arms, or what we might look like the head, sort of. And the blooms are really simple. You start with a little U shape like this, and then you're going to just make a few, kind of looks like a muffin. And there are lots of them on each one. And you can decide how many that you want to put on each one. We're just going to draw a few on here so we get the idea. Like this. Beautiful. Close up, they're just really gorgeous. And if we have time, we might do one of those. Now, the other thing that grows in the desert is the one that I'm really comfortable with. The one I see in Texas all the time is the prickly pear cactus. And those grow a little bit differently. They are sort of oval shaped like this. And they grow one from the other like this, and you can draw as many as you want to, like that. And again, you're going to have a whole bunch of X shapes on it that represent the spines, or the spikes, the prickliness. And that also has a beautiful bloom, and I'm going to draw that a little bit bigger here so that you can see it really well. And these come in beautiful colors. We start with an oval in the middle like this, and then we're going to do kind of a wavy line here. We're going to do four petals, and a wavy line down below, and a wavy line on the side, and a wavy line here. Now, if you got really close up to it, you would see that there are lots of little circles in the middle, and that's what the hummingbirds and the bees and things are attracted to. So we're going to finish out the thorns as we draw these later on with the ink pen. Another kind that we do is a barrel cactus, and the barrel cactus is just what it sounds like. It's just a circle like this, and some of them are a little bit taller than they are round, and I'm going to draw it all the way across the bottom like that. And again, they have kind of these ribs that go down the barrel cactus like that, and that's where their spines are, and they are really spiny. So instead of just X's, you can do kind of like a star-like shape like this, and do them all over, going down along those ribs. And then their blooms also happen up on top, and we're going to change it up a little bit. We're going to do it from the side, and this almost looks like the tulip that we drew last week, and it's just going to be a U shape like this, and then you do a zigzag across the top, and then you can add a few little lines to show where the petals are, and a U shape like this, and zigzag and petals down. Same thing, U shape, zigzag, and then petals down like that. And that's going to be our barrel cactus. Those are really easy to draw. You can put a whole bunch of them in there, and you can make them taller if you want to. Finally, the last kind of succulent that we're going to draw is the agave. And the agave is used to make nectar. Sometimes you can use it, you can find agave nectar in the stores. It's kind of like honey to sweeten your tea, and it is also used to make adult beverages. But the agave starts with kind of a teardrop shape, like this. And you can put several of them together like this. And agave grows really, really tall. They have a big spike that comes out the top of them. So if you put a few of them together like this, and then you just have a few that come out from behind, like that. Okay, and now their spines, their thorns go along the edge, and if you just do a zigzag along each one of these leaves, that gives you the idea of the spike on the agave, or the thorns. And this one I'm going to draw as tall as I can, really, really tall, very thick stalk like this. Imagine it taller than this, but we're going to stop there because we're running out of space. And then it branches off sort of like a tree. I'm going to put a few of them on here so you can see what it looks like. And then on top of it, you can just put little blooms like this. Okay, now when I go back in with my ink pen, which I'm going to do now, we're going to add all of the thorns that we were talking about. Now all of these plants are in a family called succulents. And the way that I remember what that is that they have to, because there's not a lot of rain in the desert, they have to collect as much water as possible when it does rain and store it in their leaves. So when it rains, they suck up as much water as possible. And that's why I call it, that's the way I remember the word succulent. And you'll notice that the leaves are really thick and they've got a lot of moisture in them. Aloe vera is the same kind of a plant. You know, when you cut an aloe vera leaf, if you've ever burned yourself, it's possible that your mother has given you a bit of an aloe vera plant. And you can squeeze out the gel, and that eases the burn. Like that. Okay? Let's go up with this big spike and do the flowers. Now, even though it's not obvious to us when we look at a desert scene, there's lots of life, lots of animals and other little plants that rely on these succulents to live. And in the case of the saguaro is a very slow growing cactus. It can grow to be to several hundred years old, and I have read several different facts about it. One of them said that when you find one that's blooming, they have to be at least 35 years old to bloom. And if they have arms, if they've started growing arms, they're anywhere between 50 and 70 years old before they start growing arms. So it takes a long time for them to grow, and inside them, woodpeckers will hollow out spaces for nests. And once the woodpecker has vacated the nest, then owls and things move into it and they will live in there. So we might, in our final picture, we could put a hole there in the middle of our saguaro, and we could have an animal living in there. And at the base of it, you might have a rat or a mouse that's living in the shadow and gives a little bit of protection from the predators, like the owls and the eagles that live in the desert. Like I said, I geeked out on this one. I just love these beautiful plants. And there are more. I wanted to draw more, but to keep this video a little bit shorter in length, we're going to keep with these four. You can draw as many as you want. As a matter of fact, once a prickly pear blooms, it has a fruit that's called a cactus apple or a prickly pear apple, and people, at least in Texas, will make a juice and jellies out of it. And so they kind of look like just like a little apple like this. They turn red, and animals will eat those in the desert. I think that's such a cool idea. And then our barrel cactus kind of starts to me, looks sort of like this is the beginning of a pumpkin, like this with its ribs. And then go back in and add the spikes. Did you know that the Saguaro cactus only grows in the Sonoran Desert in Arizona? That would be the areas around Tucson, Arizona. No other place in the world has Saguaro cactus. And we in the United States are fortunate that we can go and see these beautiful cacti. Did you know the plural of cactus is cacti? And there you go. So then go back in with your eraser when you are ready and erase out all of your pencil lines, and you've got some beautiful cacti to look at. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.